And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm RJ with the Sports Buzz. And this episode, I'm talking about Blake Griffin going to the Nets and a few quick thoughts about the 2021 NBA All-Star Game. And I know the sports world is always changing. Breaking news is always happening. And with these podcasts that I do, I tend to be a couple of days behind schedule because I work a lot. I work about 65, 70 hours a week. And like everybody, it has a passion for being a sports fan. Doing these podcasts do take time to research, to develop what I want to say, and record. So I try to be as prompt as I can, but unfortunately right now, I've got a lot of things going on, and it's just trying to squeeze in time for everything. Going forward, it might get a little bit easier for me to do these, but for now, it's just trying to squeeze them in. And I don't like to half-ass everything. I actually like to put time and effort into doing something. And I'm actually recording this episode in between shifts in my car on my phone. Hey, it is what it is. Anyway, let's just dive into Blake Griffin going to the Nets, creating a superstar team in the East, and a few quick points about the 2021 NBA All-Star Game. So I'll start out saying that after Blake Griffin negotiates a $56.5 million buyout from the Pistons, in which he decided just to kind of bench himself before the All-Star break so he can figure out where he wanted to go and what championship potential caliber teams there was something that he had in mind. Going to a championship contender. And so he is now a member of the Brooklyn Nets. Yes, the same Brooklyn Nets that's got Kevin Durant, James Harden, DeAndre Jordan, which was his former teammate with the Clippers, and is now reunited with him on the same team, as the Nets now are a super stacked team in the Eastern Conference, which means there is no chance, on paper that is, that they should be the Eastern Conference representative in the finals. In other words, they should be facing the Lakers in the NBA championship this year. So in other words, the finals should be the LA Lakers defending their title against the Brooklyn Nets. But we have seen underdogs come and bounced out, perennial favorites in the first or second round of the playoffs before. But Blake Griffin is not going to be a huge contribution to the team. I mean, he is going to be seen as a small ball center coming off the bench. You know, in this season so far, Griffin has averaged 12 points, 5 rebounds, and about 4 assists a game, and that was what his body of work was during his time with the Pistons this season. So no, the Nets are not getting the Blake Griffin of old. They are getting someone that can come off the bench as a center and perhaps be a formidable alternative when needed. Although his time in Brooklyn may not be long, because going forward this year, he is getting a veteran minimum contract for the remaining of the season. And if he wants to stay with the Nets next season, the Nets can only offer him about a mid-level exception of $6 million because they're going to have luxury tax issues. However, because of Griffin's buyout with the Pistons next season, Detroit is going to be paying him like $30 million. So he can choose where the heck he wants to go to. Personally, I think he's just in it to get a ring somewhere, and he may just retire from the NBA. Thank you, Brooklyn. You got me a ring, and see ya. I'm out. Who knows? Maybe he might return to some of his old self, being on a team that is pretty much a lock to go into a deep playoff postseason run. Now my thoughts on the All-Star Game, which I'm going to blast right through. First of all, I thought the NBA did a great job of slamming all the events in one night. The skills challenge, the three-point contest, the All-Star Game, and using the slam dunk competition as a halftime show. Although it may have looked like it might have been rushed at times, still, what's usually a weekend event, a 2-night event, was condensed in about a 5-hour affair, give or take. The three-point contest I enjoyed very well. Mike Conley of the Jazz gave Stephen Curry all he could handle, because Curry won it with a last shot at the buzzer three-pointer. The slam dunk contest was interesting. It was still fun to watch. But Cassius Stanley's first dunk was the best of the night. Anthony Simmons pretty much tries to kiss the rim, but decided not to. Maybe he thought the rim might have been filled with germs he did not want to get. I mean, can you imagine he kisses the rim, and the next thing you know, he comes down with COVID? Oh, the rim gave me COVID. Obi Toppin's windmill dunk, jumping over his father and teammate, was awesome. The scoring of the last dunk between Simmons and Toppin was... I didn't really care for it. It wasn't a score-based. It was just a opinion-based, okay, this player did better than the other player. Which maybe they did it for this year because of the time constraints. But I hope going forward it returns back to a scoring, an actual score of the dunk to win. Now, as far as the entire All-Star Game goes, all the players had fun. Everybody was relaxed. Both teams raised a lot of money for their respective charities, and also all the fundraising they did for the historically black colleges and universities was superb. Team LeBron ultimately beats Team Durant 170 to 150 as Giannis wins MVP by going 16 for 16, making all his shots, layups, field goals, and whatever shot that he made virtually went in. Every shot that he made and he threw up went into the basket. Although it was Steph Curry and Damian Lillard that stole the entire show with all the half-court shots. And Lillard making the final bucket, a half-court shot, was fun to see. All in all, I thought the NBA All-Star Game was great, considering it was on one night. I did not watch a skills challenge. I almost forgot the All-Star Game was on because I work so much. The NBA proved to us that they could do an entire All-Star weekend in a 5-hour period. Will they do it again in the future? Probably not. But who knows? Anything is possible. Maybe next time the NBA will have a Team Barber on site for everybody. because Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid did not participate in the All-Star game because they came in contact with their barber who tested positive for COVID. Don't get me wrong. I know everybody wanted to look fresh or a nice clean cut for the All-Star game. But just like the NBA did last year for the bubble, they should have had all the players be in a bubble-like atmosphere for the All-Star game. But hey, life goes on. Some people take more risk than others. And hopefully it wasn't a super spreader with traveling. But all in all, the NBA did a great job of creating an all-star game on the fly. And we'll see what goes for the rest of the NBA season. So, my next episodes of the Sports Buzz. The next episode I am going to do is I am going to cover Dak Prescott's monster contract. I know you've all heard about it, and many of you are probably sick and tired of hearing Cowboys. You either love them or you hate them. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'm going to have my thoughts on it. But after that, future episodes, after I cover Dak's contract, is going to be a lot of March Madness oriented. So football and NBA basketball is going to take a back seat. I love March Madness. I always get really involved in watching March Madness. I don't really fill out too many brackets, but I just love the upsets, the one shining moment montage, and not to mention where I live. I live in Connecticut, which is UConn territory, and I am a UConn alumni. So women's college basketball is pretty big here. And with the men's team back in the Big East, it's becoming a lot bigger than what it used to be. But I am not going to be that biased. I'm going to cover a lot of March Madness, a lot of different teams, regions. Even though it's all in Indianapolis this year, like it's a bubble. And I believe the NCAA is allowing 25% capacity for fans. So after I do my thoughts on Dak Prescott's contract, the following episodes are going to be March Madness oriented. Once March Madness is over, I will get back into the NBA. Maybe a little NHL. And don't be surprised if I throw a racing episode somewhere in between all that. I do have a Twitter page. It's at SportsBuzz101. Most of it right now is just I just put polls up, and I keep my separate personal Twitter thoughts away from the Sports Buzz page. And you can also leave comments on any of the videos, even the older ones that I did not do. You know, my good friend Heather started this podcast and this page and everything, and she has let me come into the fold, and I'm thankful for it, and therefore I am gonna leave all her work up there, and who knows, she might be back one day. But for now, you have me, RJ. So don't be a stranger and leaving a comment and replying to the polls I put up on the Twitter page. I will get to your comments as soon as I can with my busy lifestyle. Until next time, I'm RJ with the Sports Buzz. Catch you on the flip side.